In September 2023, a Brazilian immigrant shot and killed his teenage daughter's boyfriend in Fort Myers, Florida. An investigation into the events of that night would reveal a pattern of mounting rage, missed warning signs, and troubling questions about how family conflicts escalate beyond control. This documentary aims to present an honest and unfiltered account of the case surrounding Luciano Frattolin, the construction contractor who built houses for a living but destroyed two families in a single act of violence. Luciano Frattolin was born on 1503 in 1978 in Porto Alegre, Brazil, and immigrated to the United States in 2001 at the age of 23. His public record shows a man who arrived with little and built a stable middle-class life through years of steady work. In 2004, he married Maria Santos, and the couple settled in Fort Myers, Florida, where Frattolin worked as a construction supervisor for residential developments across Lee County. By 2008, they had purchased their first home, a 3-bedroom property in the Lehigh Acres area, valued at approximately $180,000. Their daughter, Isabella, was born on 06/12/2006. Frattolin's career advanced steadily over the next 15 years. He progressed from supervisor to project manager, overseeing crews of 20 to 30 workers on commercial and residential projects valued at over $15 million. By 2018, he had established his own contracting business, Frattolin Construction Services, LLC, specializing in custom home renovations and new builds across Southwest Florida. Industry colleagues described him as meticulous, a perfectionist who demanded precision in every detail. He had built over 40 homes with his own hands and was known in the community as a man who had achieved the American dream through discipline, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to providing for his family. His relationship with his daughter appeared outwardly strong. Isabella attended Fort Myers High School and was active in the school's soccer program. In early 2022, during her sophomore year, she began dating a classmate, a 16-year-old student whose family lived in the same school district. The relationship was initially accepted by both families, with the couple attending school events together and spending time at each other's homes. But Frattolin had immigrated with traditional values about family structure and parental authority, values that would increasingly clash with his daughter's growing independence as the relationship continued. By mid-2023, as Isabella entered her junior year, tensions between Frattolin and the young couple began to surface. Friends of the family later described a father who had become increasingly concerned about his daughter's relationship, though the specific nature of those concerns remained a matter of dispute. What was not in dispute was that by August 2023, the relationship between Frattolin and his daughter's boyfriend had deteriorated significantly. The man who built homes was losing control of his own. The conflict between Frattolin and his daughter's boyfriend had been building for months before that September night. In April 2023, neighbors reported hearing a loud argument outside the Frattolin residence involving raised voices and accusations directed at the teenage boy. No formal complaint was filed, and responding officers documented the incident as a verbal domestic dispute that had been resolved without arrests. The boyfriend's parents were not notified. In June 2023, Isabella confided to school counselors that her father had become increasingly controlling about her relationship, including attempts to restrict her phone usage and monitor her communications. School records show that a counselor spoke with Maria Frattolin about the family dynamics, but no further action was taken. The conversation was documented as a routine check-in regarding a student navigating typical parental boundaries. On 08/15/2023, just 3 weeks before the killing, police were called to the Frattolin home again. This time, Frattolin had reportedly confronted the boyfriend in the driveway, demanding he leave the property and not return. The incident was classified as a trespassing warning, though no formal trespass notice was issued. The boyfriend's family later stated they had considered seeking a restraining order, but decided against escalating the situation legally. By early September, multiple warning signs had been documented across 3 separate institutional touchpoints. None triggered a coordinated response or intervention. On 9/17/2023, at approximately 9:47 p.m., Luciano Frattolin shot and killed 17-year-old Michael Chen in the driveway of the Frattolin residence. According to the initial police report, Chen had arrived at the home to pick up Isabella for a planned movie outing. Frattolin confronted Chen as he exited his vehicle, and within minutes, the confrontation escalated. Witnesses reported hearing raised voices followed by 3 gunshots. Chen was struck twice in the chest and once in the abdomen. He was pronounced dead at the scene by Lee County Emergency Medical Services at 10:11 p.m. Isabella Frattolin, who had witnessed the shooting from inside the home, immediately called 911. The recorded call, later released to media, captured her screaming that her father had shot her boyfriend. Frattolin remained at the scene and did not resist when officers arrived. He was taken into custody at 10:24 p.m. and transported to the Lee County Jail. During initial questioning, Frattolin reportedly stated that he had acted to protect his daughter, though he provided no specific details about an alleged threat posed by Chen. On 9/19/2023, the State Attorney's Office for the 20th Judicial Circuit formally charged Frattolin with second-degree murder, a first-degree felony carrying a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. He was held without bond pending trial. Frattolin's defense attorney retained 3 days after the arrest, entered a plea of not guilty, and indicated an intention to pursue a justifiable use of force defense under Florida's self-defense statutes. The case proceeded to trial in March 2024. Prosecutors presented evidence that included forensic analysis showing Chen had been unarmed, witness testimony from neighbors and Isabella herself, and expert testimony refuting any claim of imminent threat. The defense argued that Frattolin had perceived Chen as a danger to his daughter based on prior confrontations, but offered no evidence of actual threatening behavior by Chen on the night of the shooting. The prosecution's case was unambiguous. Chen had posed no threat. On 03/22/2024, after 6 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict. Frattolin showed no visible reaction as the verdict was read. On 04/15/2024, he was sentenced to 30 years in the Florida Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole before serving 85% of the term. The judge, in her sentencing remarks, stated that Frattolin had taken the life of an unarmed teenager who posed no credible threat and had destroyed multiple families through an act of violence rooted in control rather than protection. The impact on both families extended far beyond the courtroom verdict. Isabella Frattolin, who was 17 at the time of the shooting and had witnessed her father kill her boyfriend, faced trauma compounded by the loss of both relationships simultaneously. She completed her senior year living with relatives in Tampa and declined to provide a victim impact statement at sentencing. Her mother, Maria Frattolin, filed for divorce in May 2024, citing irreconcilable differences. The family home in Lehigh Acres was listed for sale in June 2024. The listing description included a 3-word instruction, "Must sell immediately." Michael Chen's family established a memorial scholarship in his name at Fort Myers High School for students pursuing engineering studies, the field Chen had planned to enter. His parents provided a joint statement through their attorney describing their son as a respectful young man who had done nothing to provoke or justify the violence that ended his life. The statement also raised questions about why multiple warning signs had not triggered intervention from law enforcement or school officials. Those questions prompted a review by the Lee County Sheriff's Office of Protocols for handling escalating domestic disputes involving minors. The review, completed in August 2024, identified gaps in information sharing between responding officers and youth services divisions. It recommended mandatory cross-reporting procedures when repeated calls involve the same address and minors are present. But its most critical finding was procedural. Officers responding to family disputes involving minors had no standardized protocol for documenting escalation patterns across multiple incidents. The man who had built over 40 homes with precision had slipped through every institutional safeguard designed to prevent exactly this outcome. The case has evolved into a broader examination of how family violence escalates when parental control conflicts with adolescent autonomy. Domestic violence prevention advocates pointed to the Frattolin case as an example of coercive control that was dismissed as ordinary parental discipline until lethal force was deployed. The pattern of escalation, documented across multiple months and agencies, raised critical questions about coordination failures in systems designed to identify and intervene in family violence. The Frattolin case has raised questions that extend beyond one father's violence. Were there critical intervention points that authorities failed to recognize or act upon? How do systems designed to protect families identify the difference between strict parenting and escalating control that poses lethal risk? Could coordination between school counselors, law enforcement, and family services have prevented Michael Chen's death? What responsibility do institutions bear when warning signs accumulate, but no single agency possesses the complete picture? What are your thoughts on these questions and their implications for how escalating family conflicts are managed? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this documentary informative, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more in-depth explorations of often overlooked, lesser-known stories. Who else would you like to see us detail next? Your engagement helps us continue to shed light on otherwise unheard narratives.